Hello everyone, today we're going to do a package of CCNA1 version 7 2.5.5 package configure initial switch settings. Objectives: verify the default switch configuration, configure a basic switch configuration, configure a MOTD banner, save configuration files to NVRAM, configure S2. Okay. In this activity, you will perform basic switch configuration tasks. You will secure access to the command line interface, CLI, at console ports using encrypted and plain text passwords. You will also learn how to configure messages for users logging into the switch. These message banners are also used to warn unauthorized users that access is prohibited. Instructions Part 1. Verify the default switch configuration. Step 1. Entering privileged executive mode. You can access all switch commands from privileged executive mode. However, because many of the privileged commands configure operating parameters, privileged access should be password protected to prevent unauthorized use. The privileged exec command set includes the commands available in the user executive mode. Many additional commands and the configure command through which access to the configuration modes is gained. So click S1 and then CLI tab here. Here's the CLI tab. Right here is press return to get started. Press enter. All right, so now we're on switch user executive mode. This ends with greater than sign. So this is user executive mode. Now we need to enter privileged executive mode. We use command enable. Okay, so prompt changed from greater than sign to the pound sign. With pound sign is privileged executive mode. All right, so step 2, examine the current switch configuration. Enter the show running config command. Okay, show running config. All right, so the running configuration are displayed here. All the information are here. All right, so look at, we need to answer the following questions from the contents of output. How many fast Ethernet interface does the switch have? Okay, here, look at interface fast Ethernet. Okay, so 0, 1, here's 0, 2, 0, 3, okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 24. So the answer is 24. Switch have 24 fast Ethernet interface. And how many gigabit Ethernet? The answer is 2. Switch has 2 gigabit Ethernet interface. The answer is 2 here. The next one is, what is the range of values shown for the VTY lines? VTY lines are virtual lines. So here, line VTY. The two range, one is 0 to 4, another is 5 to 15. So the whole range is from 0 to 15. All right, so that means that there are totally 16 VTY lines are supported by switch. 0 is the first line. Okay, first VTY line. Next question is, which command will display the current contents of non-volatile random access memory? Contents of NVRAM. Okay, the content is show startup config. All right, this command will show the contents of NVRAM because startup configuration is stored in the NVRAM. So why does a switch respond with the startup config is not present? That's because we are currently in the running configuration file, and we don't save the running configuration file to the startup configuration file yet. So it shows the startup config is not present. Next, part 2, create a basic switch configuration. Step 1, assign a name to a switch. To configure parameters on the switch, you may be required to move between various configuration modes. Notice how the prompt changes as you navigate through the switch. Okay, in order to assign a name to a switch, we need to enter the configuration mode. Configuration mode is also called a global configuration mode. So we are currently on the in the privileged executive mode. So we use command configure terminal to enter configuration mode. Okay, so now we are here in the configuration mode. We can assign a name to switch now. We use command host name followed by the device name S1. All right, so look at the device name changed. So here, from switch to change to S1. So we're good. So let's exit switch configuration mode and back to the privileged mode. So step 2, secure access to the console line. To secure access to the console line, access config line mode and the set of the console password to let me in. Okay, so we're going to configure password for console line. So we need to enter the config line mode. So now we need to use the command config terminal. All right. I use the short version of the command. Config T. Then we need to go to the config line mode. Line is, here is console line. So line console 0. 0 here represents the first console line, or the only console line, or the first console port, or the only console port, because console on switch there's only one console port. Let's you will see from here. Okay, I show you console space question mark. It shows here 0-0. This is the first line number, because 0-0 is 0 is the first line. It is the only line as well. So we use console 0. So enter. So now we're in the config line mode. Now we can configure password. We use command password followed by the password we gave to the console line, which is called let me in. All right, enter, and log in. Enter. Here, remember, the login is very important. Don't forget, if without login, even though you configure a password here, without login, this password will not work. All right, so don't forget, and exit, and exit again. Go back to the privileged mode. So here's a question: why is the login command required? All right, so I explained login is like enable the password. Look at here. We configure a password, all right? So when we are trying to access S1 from PC1 through the console line, but this is not console line, through a console line, without login, the switch will not prompt us to use the password, all right? So the password, after we configure a password, the password will not take effect automatically. It has to be enabled by the command login before it take effect. So login is very important is required. So next. Step 3, verify that console access is secured. Exit privileged. Okay, we are here. And exit privileged mode. So now we're log out the switch. So here's a press return to get started. Okay, we press enter. So it shows password. So this password is the console password we just configured. It is called let me in, right? Yes. So now we're getting S1 user executive mode. Here said if the switch did not prompt you for passwords, then you did not configure the login parameter in step 2. It's the same thing we're talking about. Yeah. Without a login, this password doesn't work. That's because switch that will not prompt you to use that password. Okay, step 4, secure privileged mode access. Set the enable password. Enable password is a command. The password, this is a password, C1 $C0. This password protects access to privileged mode. Note here in the password, this is 0. Okay, that's what it means. This is 0, not O. Okay, so let's go to enable to the privileged mode and configure terminal. So now we use command enable password to configure password. Okay, so enable password C1 $C0. Yeah, this is the password we gave to the privileged mode. Enter. Okay, then exit. Okay, step 5, verify that the privileged mode access is secure. That means we have to verify this password is in effect. Exit, log out, switch. Okay, let's log out, switch again. Exit. All right, so now we need to press return to get started. All right, first password is console. So let me in. Okay, so enable to enter privileged mode. So here, the password is the enable password, C1 $C0. Okay, so it works. The password, both password works. First enter command, enter, second verify. So now you need to verify configuration by examining the contents of the run configuration file. So we need to check our configuration is correct. So show running config, running config. Okay, so here's the running config. We check what configuration we did. Here's host name S1. Yeah, we did this one. Enable password. Yes, we did. This is a privileged mode access passwords. This is the C1 $C0. Good. And the console line password. Let me in, log in. Okay, enable the password. All right, everything is fine. So notice that the console and the enable passwords are both in plain text. Plain text means the password is displayed in the form that exactly we type. Like the console line is let me in. So this is plain text. And this password, the enable password is C1 $C0. This is exactly we type. Okay. This could pose a security risk if someone is looking over your shoulder or obtains access to config files stored in the backup location. All right, so next step, we need to configure an encrypted password to secure access to the privileged mode. The enable password should be replaced. because enable password produce the plain text password. All right, so this command need to be replaced by a new password, which is called enable secret command. Set the enable secret password to it's a secret. Okay, let's do that. To encrypt the password for the privileged mode. Right, so configure terminal, and this time we use the command enable secret, followed by the password we give to the privileged mode is it's a secret. Enter. Okay, exit, head back to the privileged mode, and note the enable secret password override the enable password. If both are configured on the switch, you must enter the enable secret password to enter privileged executive mode. Okay. So now we need to verify. Next is verify the enable secret password is added to the configuration file, and enter the show running config command again to verify the new enable secret password is configured. Okay, let's go show run. So running configuration displayed here. Yeah, it's one. Yeah, enable. There are two commands. Enable secrets. Okay, you see the password gave the enable secrets is it's a secret, but here the password is displayed in this form. This is messy numbers, symbols, letters, or signs. It doesn't make any sense. All right, this enable password produce the password with the plain text form. This form is the encrypted form of the password. All right. So enable secret command produce encrypted password. Enable password produces plain text password. That's the difference. So we verified it added to. Okay, here, what is displayed for the enabled secret password? Yeah, we explained here already. This displayed is these messy numbers, doesn't know any meaning, doesn't make sense. And why is the enabled secret password described differently from what we configured? That's because this form displayed here is the encrypted form of password. So it is differently displayed from what we configured. Step 8, encrypt the enable and console password. Here's two passwords. One is enable password, one is console password. Okay, here's enable password, still the plain text here, all right? And here console line password, still plain text, let me in. So now we need to encrypt these two plain text password. Now we need a new different command. Okay, here, encrypt the enable. As you notice in step 7, the enable secret password was encrypted, but the enable and the console password were still in plain text. We will now encrypt these plain text passwords using the service password encryption command. Okay, let's go to we need a different commands. So configure terminal, service password encryption. All right. So now let's exit. We did it. Let's check. All right. So here's if you configure any, oh, there's a question. If you configure any more passwords on the switch, Will they be displayed in the configuration file as plain text or in encrypted form? Explain. Okay, the answer is encrypted form. That's because this command, service password encryption, will encrypt all the current and future passwords. All right, part 3, configure MOTD. No, that's here. Do we need to verify? Sorry, okay. Let's verify. Let's see, because we just we use this command to encrypt the plain text passwords show wrong. Okay. So now, okay, you see, line console password encrypted. This is encrypted form, and the enable password encrypted as well. Okay, yeah, because we use this command, service password encryption, to encrypt all these plain text password. So next we need to configure MOTD banner. Step 1, configure message of the day. Message of the day is called MOTD banner. The Cisco iOS command set includes a feature that allows you to configure messages that anyone logging onto the switch sees. These messages are called message of the day, or MOTD banners. Enclose the banner text in quotations, or use a delimiter different from any character appearing in the MOTD string. Okay, let's go to configure MOTD banner. Right, configure terminal command banner MOTD quotation mark. Quotation enclosed the message. This is a secure system authorized access only. Good. All right, enter. So banner is created. Let's exit. Okay, there's a question. Looks like there's a question. When will this banner be displayed? This banner will be displayed before console password. Before the switch prompts you to type the console password. When someone is trying to access the switch through console line, console on this console port, yeah, you will see the banner. Yeah, when you are trying to access switch through console line, you will see that banner. All right, so why should every switch have a MOTD banner? Why? That's the banner is like a warning to the people who are trying to access a switch. The banner is an important part of the legal process in the event that someone is prosecuted for breaking into a device. Some legal systems do not allow prosecution or even the monitoring of users unless a notification is visible. So that is why we need MOTD banner. Next, part 4, save and verify configuration files to NVRAM. Step 1, verify that the configuration is accurate using the show run command. Okay, let's go to show run command. Let's see the configuration. We did. Host name is 1. Yes, we did. Enable secrets. Yes. This produce the encrypted passwords, and the enable passwords produce the plain text password. But here it shows the encrypted form. That's because we use the command service password encryption to encrypt this plain text password. Line console password we did, yeah, password, this encrypted form. Still the same reason. We use the service password encryption to encrypt this plain text login to enable the password. Yeah, everything's fine. So now we need to save the configuration file. You have completed the basic configuration of the switch. Now back up the running configuration file to NVRAM to ensure that the changes made are not lost if the system is rebooted or loses power. All right, so copy. Let's copy. Copy is save. Running config to start up config. Let's talk about this. Here, there are two types of system files that restore the device configuration. One is running config file. One is startup config file. Running config file actually is a working configuration file. It is stored in RAM, RAM, random access memory. Well, the RAM is a volatile memory. So when the device is powered off or restarted or rebooted, it will lose all the configuration and commands in it. All right. So, but the startup configuration, startup config file is the saved configuration file that is stored in non-volatile random access memory. It is also called NVRAM. All right, NVRAM. And so when device is powered off or restarted, rebooted, it will not lose the configuration and commands inside. So that's a difference. In short, running config is a working configuration file. Startup config file is the saved configuration file. All right. And let's enter. So we destination file number is startup config. Yes, we keep it. All right. There's a question. What is the shortest abbreviated version of the copy running config startup config command? Actually, you will see I use it's copy run as rs, but it doesn't work in the field production. This command, the short version, copy rs. R is running config, S is startup config. It works, but here in this package it doesn't work. All right, we can change another short way. Copy rst. It works. Okay, it works. Or you can use copy run start. It works. Yeah, there are different short version of this command. All right, so which command? Which command will display the contents of NVRAM? Yeah, we talk about it we just talked about the startup config is stored in the NVRAM, right? So here we need to use the command. This show start up config, right? To display the contents of NVRAM. Yeah, this we just copy the running to startup config. So all the configuration is supposed to be the same. The host name is one. Okay, enable secrets, enable passwords. All right, same. And the console line password login the same. All right. So are all the changes that were entered the recording in the file? Yes. Okay, so next, part 5, configure S2. You have completed completed the configuration on S1. Now you complete S2. So we need to close S1. They want us to do the same thing to the S2. All right. So S2, return, enter, switch. Okay, if you cannot remember the commands, refer to the part 1, 2, 4 for assistance. Configure S2 with the following parameter. All right, so enable. First, the device name is 1, so that means we need to change the device name. Okay, it's configure terminal host name. That's command S2. So we change the switch device name to the S2. So next is protect access to the console using let me in. So we need to go to the console line. Configure password for console line is config line mode. So line console 0. All right. The password is let me in. Okay. Password. All right. Configure enable password of C1 $ C0 and enable secret password of its secret. Okay, we need to go back to the global configuration mode. So exit. So now is enable password C1 $ C0. Okay, and enable secret. It's a secret. All right. Oh, enable. Sorry. Okay, enable. All right. So we know the difference. Enable password produce plain text password. Enable secret produce encrypted password. That's the difference. Okay, next, configure enable password of this. Enable, yeah, we did it. Configure a appropriate message to log in into the switch. That means MOTD banner. So banner, MOTD, quotation mark, enclosed message. This is a secure system authorized access only. All right. Banner, we did it. Encrypt all plain text passwords. Is a command service password encryption. Encryption. Yeah, service password encryption will encrypt all the plain text of password. Secure, ensure the configuration is correct. All right, ensure. So we need to go to the show run configuration to check all the configuration we just did is correct. So exit show run. I use show R, the short way, okay? So here is host name S2, yes. Enable secret, yes. Enable password, all right. Okay, line console, good. Password, good. But one thing missing, that is login. That's very, very important part, login. If without a login, this password doesn't work, all right? Because we need to use a login to enable the password. So let's go to configure terminal and align console 0, login, good, okay. So now I should run again to check. Okay, here, console line, 0, password login. Okay, perfect. All right, we checked. Next is save configuration file to avoid a loss if the switch is powered down. Save with copy. Copy, running config to start up config. Start up config, yes. All right. So now we finished all these packages. So look at the completion status. It shows 100%. That means we perfectly finished this package, sir. All right, so package tracer configure initial switch settings. Thank you for watching my video. If you like my video, please thumbs up and subscribe my channel and share with your friends. See you next time.